Okay, so paper 2, okay, we're going to look at the paper 2 question for your admits, this one. Okay, so just a short recap lah. Okay, you're supposed to answer altogether 11 questions. Okay, out of section A, there is 7 questions. Okay, out of section A, there's 7 questions, which is about 50 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 42. Yeah, 50 marks. Okay, and then section B, there's 4 questions. You only need to choose 3. And then section C, there's 4 questions, and we choose 2. Okay, and generally in section C, we will concentrate on solution of triangle, okay, and index numbers. Okay, these are the 2 topics that that even as we even as we progress in our revision, we will focus on these 2 chapters. Okay, but the important thing that you need to know is that so the compulsory one is 50 marks. Okay, and then the pilihan one is 50 marks also lah. Okay, 3 from section B and 2 from section C. Each one is 10 marks. So, you know, altogether is 50 marks. And you know that there are 2 topics that are definitely coming out, which is solution of triangle and index numbers. I cannot tell you what are the topics that are going to come out in question 8, 9, 10, 11. There is no way for us to know. Okay, but we know section C definitely will have these 2 questions. And so, you know, as you are doing your revision, it is always best to start with these 2 chapters because you know that it's going to come out and you're aiming for these questions. Okay, so solution of triangle and index numbers, if you do well enough, you'll get 20 out of 100. Okay, and then after that, you proceed to the rest of the questions. Okay, so that is for revision purposes lah. Okay, but for today, let's go through. I want to try to go through all the 7 questions in section A. Okay, and then on Thursday, we will go to section B and C. Okay, we will not have any class on Wednesday because on Wednesday, some of us are involved in this webinar, and I would like all of you to watch this webinar lah. Okay, to support our friends who are presenting okay, on that day lah. Okay, so this Wednesday, the kehadiran will be taken in a slightly different manner, but do join the webinar. Okay, the webinar will be held after our class time, I think. Our class is 12:30, right? Yeah, but anyway, the webinar is at 2 o'clock lah. So just anggap sebagai kamu hadir saja, but try to hadir lah. Okay, list of formula is still the same. Okay, the same 28 formulas are given. But if I'm not mistaken, actually these 4, okay, this 4 is not given, but we gave it to you to help all of you lah. Okay, actually I think it's just 24 formulas only, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, memang 24 formula saja yang biasa. Oh, no. There's a missing formula here. Hold on. Oh yeah, there should be another one. There should be the cost rule formula, 25 formulas. Okay, there should be the cost rule formula, but we decided that since there's so many questions about circle, so we wanted to give this one to help you all a little bit lah. Okay. All right, let's go to question number 1. So diagram shows a circle cross-section of a timber, okay, satu kayu balak, that is floating in the water with a radius of 80 cm. So, you know, the thing about this diagram is that they did not give you the center, but if you mark the center correctly, okay, you will notice that from O to A, from O to C, and from O to B, all 3 are the same length, okay, which is 80 cm. Okay, so all this is 80 cm. Okay, and C is the highest point from the water surface. So it's hard for us to imagine that because we think that C is higher than A and B, right? So the distance is different. Okay, but actually if you understand the concept of radius, you will know that actually the length of OA, OB, and OC are exactly the same. Okay, the ratio of the highest point from C, from the water surface to the diameter of the circle is 1 to 4. So they are telling you now that this is 1 part and this is 4 parts. Okay, now I'm going to call this this point over here this is O. I'm going to call this letter D lah. Okay, so you can actually tell me if C to D and D to O is 1 to 4, right? Okay, and the total length is 80 cm. You can actually calculate each one. Okay, you just divide by 5 and then times 4 lah. Okay, so 80 divided by 5 will give you the length of CD. Okay, because 1 plus 5 is, or 1 plus 4 is 5 parts. Okay, so ada 5 parts. So this is 16 kepada 64. Kan? Yeah. Okay, 16 plus 16 and 64. And that's a very important thing that we will know. Okay, so after that, we are required to find the arc length of ACB. Okay, formula for arc length is S equals to R theta. Okay, we have the R, no problem, but we don't have the theta. Okay, we don't have the theta. And so this actually, okay, we can use this triangle, which I'm going to mark in green, to help us to find the value of half of the angle. Okay, which, and since I know that this is 80 and this is 64, okay, I can use either the sine, cos, or tangent formula lah, okay, to find the angle. Okay, so in the scheme here, okay, U should be cos theta will be equals to 40 over 80. Hold on. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Sorry. 1 to 4, the whole thing is 4. Sorry, my bad. The whole thing is 4. Okay, so the whole thing is 4, this is 1, so this is 3. It still doesn't really help me though. Nisbah titik tertinggi dari permukaan air kepada diameter bulatan is 1 to 4. Calculate the length of the arc ACB. 1 to 3. Diameter is 160. Oh yeah, you're right. Diameter. Oh yeah. Okay. So the diameter, highest point. So that means this is 1. This is 1. The whole thing over here is 4. Okay. If this is 4, that means this is 2, and then that means this is also 1 lah. Okay, so if like that, okay, if that is the case, then CD to DO will be 1 to 1. Which, kalau ikut diagram, bahkan macam tidak masuk akal langsung lah, which is 80. Yeah, so it will be 40 to 40. Kan? Because if the whole thing is 80, okay, if the whole thing is 80, this is 1, so setiap satu adalah 40 cm lah. Okay, it doesn't make sense according to the Raja, but that's what the information is telling us. The ratio of the highest point C from the water surface is 1. The diameter of the circle, the whole thing, 160, is 4. Okay, so that means if the whole thing is 4, and we know that the whole thing is 160, okay, so you know that this whole thing must be 80. And so if this is 1 part, this must be also 1 part. Okay, so you get 40. And so because of that, we can use cos theta, okay, according to this one, to get the angle of 60 degrees. Okay, and once you find the angle of 60 degrees, you convert it into radian. Okay, once you convert it into radian, then you can substitute into the length of the arc formula to get about 167.57 atau yang sewaktu dengannya lah. Alright, next. Calculate the cross-sectional area of the entire thing is below the surface of the water. Okay, so if I rub this out, okay, below the surface of the water means we want to find this whole thing lah. Okay, which is basically the entire circle minus the one in blue, this one. Okay, and there is a formula to calculate the area of this, kan, which is 1 over 2 r squared theta minus sine theta. And then saya pergi panjang lebar lah, okay, to talk about what is theta, what is sine theta, yada lah. Okay, so the the scheme will tell us that, okay, so this is the area of the entire circle, okay, pi r squared. Okay, this is the area of the entire circle, which is pi r squared, minus, This is theta, and then this is sine theta. Okay, it will be 120. Of course, 120 lah, because just now when we calculated the angle, bahkan, when we calculated this angle, I need to make my pen a bit smaller. Hold on. Okay. So when we calculated this angle just now, we only calculated half, but we wanted the whole thing. So if this is 60, this also must be 60. So that's why it's 120 degrees. That's why you see over here, okay, dia orang ubah 120 degrees to become radian. Okay, so you calculate. You can use this way, which is to count everything separately, or you can use the 1/2 r squared then theta minus sine theta. Except that remember, this theta is in degrees. Okay, unless you want to do the change and everything lah. Okay, so which will give you about 16176.08 centimeter cube squared. Okay, atau yang sewaktu dengan ni lah. Okay, all right. So if you take a screenshot of the first one, okay, let me rub off all this first. Okay, you can take a screenshot of the first, this one. All right, second question. Spiral pattern obtained when a piece of wire is bent into several semicircles, okay, and the condition of the radius is it increased 4 cm from the previous semicircles. So this tells us that this is an arithmetic progression. Okay, this is the first thing lah, because it is increasing at a consistent rate. Okay, dia bertambah 4 cm setiap semi bulatan. Okay, so given the radius of the first semicircle is 9 cm, okay, the center O and AOBC is a straight line. Okay, determine which circle has the arc length of 121 pi. Okay, now a few things. We know that the length of the semicircle or the lilitan satu semicircle bahkan, kalau a full circle is 2 pi r, kan, the lilitan bulatan. But since it is a half circle, so it will be pi r. That's the first thing. Secondly, notice that the question gives us in terms of pi, which means that you don't have to substitute pi. And that's a very important thing. Okay, if the question gives us the answer in terms of pi, tidak payah kita sibuk-sibuk mau kasih ganti 3.142 lah. Okay, because that will not help you at all. Okay, so all your answers should be in pi. So the first semicircle, okay, the first semicircle will be pi r, which is 5 pi. Okay, sorry, T1 is 5 pi. T2, okay, every jejari, sorry, every radius increase 4 cm. So if the first one is 5, okay, the second one from the center over here is 5 plus 4, will be 9. So the length of the semicircle will be 9 pi. Okay, so this tells us our D is 4 pi, kan? Sebab 9 pi minus 5 pi, our A is 5 pi. And we can find the n when it is 121 pi. Okay, so you start with Tn equals to 121 pi, and you will get this answer. Okay, Tn equals to 121 pi. Substitute the A and the D correctly, okay, which is 5 pi and 4 pi. You will get the answer n equals to 30. It's the 30th semicircle is the one with the length of 121 pi. Okay. Question B. If OC, the whole thing over here, OC is 145 cm. Okay, if the whole thing over here is 145 cm. Okay, find the length of the wire needed so that the end of the wire will touch the point OC. We want to know how many, this one, okay, how many semicircles do we need, okay, in order to find, sorry, in order to reach the 145 cm. That means the radius now becomes 145 cm. Okay, so when we look at the scheme, what the scheme actually does is dia tulis balik the radius as a progression. So we get 5, 9, and 13. Okay, So when you have 5, 9, and 13, and you find that 145 is the biggest, the jejari, the biggest jejari, yeah, means if I have one semicircle over here, okay, oh, sorry, not even this. Sorry. It's not that. This is the semicircle. Okay, 145 as the radius. Okay, so I want to know how long is the wire that I need lah. Okay, so you find n equals to 36. The 36th semicircle is the one where the semicircle is 145 cm the radius. Okay, so in order to find the total amount of wire, okay, you do you do S36. Okay, so 36 over 2. Okay, but instead of using this arithmetic progression, we come back to the length of the semicircle. Okay, so that's why it's 2 5 pi plus 35 times 4 pi. Okay, 36 minus 1 lah. Okay, the formula for arithmetic progression. Okay, so the length of the result we get is 2700 pi. Hold on. Okay, so one thing to notice about this question, okay, if you take a look at this question, actually, this line, okay, sorry, this line that you see over here is not part of the wire yang kena gulung-gulung. It's just a line over there. Okay, it is not the piece of wire kan, then the line pun termasuk dalam piece of wire tersebut. It's not that. The wire is only bent into semicircles. So the semicircle is the wire itself. That's why in this question, we use this progression, okay, to find the total amount of wire. Tapi kita mau tahu, okay, we wanted to know the circle with the radius 145 is which circle. Okay, so it is the bulatan ke-36. Then we use the progression to find the y. Alright, so this is the question 2 punya scheme. Okay, you can mark it against your own this one to see how much you get lah. Okay, one thing good about all this discussion is that number one, we learn as we go along. Okay, and of course, don't just listen to me talk and not copy anything down lah. Okay, look at your own answer sheet. Okay, compare. If you're not getting anything, copy down the right answer, and then we learn from there. All right. Question 3. This is a prism ABCDEF with a square base. Okay, given the total length of the sides is 133, ED equals to BC is 25. So this is 25, and this is 25, and that's a very interesting thing. Okay, find the volume of the right prism. Okay, so they seem to give you two sentences, and it seems to be like apa soalan ini. Okay, actually this is simultaneous equations. Okay, simultaneous equations means you need to have at least two formulas, if not three. Okay, two equations, if not three. So the first equation is this. The total length for the sides is 133 cm. Okay, total length. But the problem is, they only give you the 25. So what do? Kamu kasih X dan Y inilah. Atau sini X dan sini Y pun boleh lah, tiada masalah. Okay, but what you will get is, you will get the first equation, which is 5x plus 2y plus 25 plus 25. Okay, because the two condong ones, right, is 133. Okay, because the base is square. Okay, because the base is square, and in Puan Lim's schema, dia letak ini sebagai, she put this as x and this as y. So that's why it's only 2y, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5x. So 5x plus 2y plus 25 plus 25 equals to 133. The total number of sides. Okay, 5x plus 2y plus 25 plus 25 equals to 133. And the second one is, if you see here, actually, this is a right angle triangle. When you do a right angle triangle, first thing that should come to your mind is always the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so that's why you will get x squared plus y squared equals to 25 squared. And when you have the two equations, you can conduct the two simultaneous equations lah. Okay, so you get two values of x, but only one is accepted, which is x equals to 7, and the other one is y equals to 24. Okay, because the other x value, okay, is a one that doesn't make sense at all lah. Okay, it's like, what, apa ini? Okay, then after that, how do you find the volume of the prism? Is the base times the height. Okay, so half times, the area of the base times the height. Okay, so since this is, after you calculate, right, this is 7. Okay, sini adalah 7. The base is the triangle. Okay, so it'll be half times 24 times 7. 24. Y is 24. Okay, half times 7 times 24, okay, will give you this triangle. Okay, bring in this one. Then you multiply by the 7 to get the volume. Okay, so volume of a prism is 1 over, area of base times height. Okay, so the common question that I always get is, how come we use the triangle as the base? Okay, how come we use the triangle? Kenapa kita tidak pakai yang kotak? Okay, because a prism, okay, a prism is one that dia macam apa tau? You know a roll cake? This is sangat lapan ni, kasi fikir pasal roll cake. You know the roll cake that looks like this? Kan? How would you cut the roll cake to make sure that, so the roll cake is like this, right? How would you cut the roll cake so that everybody can get, you know, kind of like the same piece? Would you cut it sideways like that? That's so drawing, right? Kan? You wouldn't cut it sideways like this. Kan? Because you know that siapa-siapa yang dapat yang atas itu kan, dia yang makan paling sikit. Yang dapat di tengah tu yang makan paling banyak. So the only way is to cut it like this lah. Kan? You cut it like chak. So that one when we cut, bila kita potong keluar, okay, kita dapat begini bentuknya bahkan. Okay, this is what we call a cross-sectional area. Now, imagine the prism is like the roll cake. How would you cut this prism? Okay, if let's say this prism is a cake, how would you cut this cake so that everybody gets the same type of piece? Obviously, it's this way, right? The triangle. You wouldn't cut it this way. Okay, so that is what we call the cross-sectional area. And that's why we use this as the base area. Base area times the height. Okay, a lot of people think that base area is area yang di bawah. Okay, which means that you're not understanding what is the meaning of base area. Okay, base area is macam mana kamu potong itu cake supaya dia yada lah. Okay, so whenever you think about volume of prism, especially in maths okay, always think of the roll cake. All right, next question. Question number 4. Alpha and beta are the roots of quadratic equation yada form a quadratic equation with these new roots. Okay, I can't remember whether it's this class or the other class that I taught. But the template, okay, the template for a quadratic equation is always x squared minus sum of the roots x plus product of roots equals to 0. Okay, and so this one we cannot use because dia tidak ikut kita punya template. Why? Because there's a number 2 in front of the x squared. This number 2 is a problem. Okay, so what do? In order to find the sum of roots and the product of roots, we have to divide everything by 2. Okay, which is what Puan Lim did over here lah. Okay, so this is kind of like a shortcut version, but if you really want, this will be x squared minus 3 over 2x minus 6 over 2, which is actually equals to 3. Okay, equals to 0. So kalau kita bandingkan ini dan ini, you know that your sum of the roots is 3 over 2, and your product of the roots is negative 3, which is given over here. Okay, sum of the roots is a plus b, product of the roots is ab alpha beta, okay, which is equals to negative 3. Then you look at your new roots. The new roots are alpha plus 3, alpha over 3 plus beta over 3, okay, which will actually be alpha plus beta over 3. And since kita gantikan di sini sudah, so this will be negative 3 over 2 over 3, and that's why you get half. Sorry, this should be positive, not negative. This should be positive. Okay, you get half. And then the product of the roots, okay, the product of the roots is alpha over 3 times beta over 3, which will give you alpha beta over 9. Okay, and since alpha beta from the old one is negative 3, so you get negative 3 over 9, which will give you this answer negative 1 over 3. Then you put it back into the template. Okay, the template will be, oh no. Okay, the template will be x squared minus half, okay, half x plus, oh sorry, minus again, minus 1 over 3. Okay, now this answer, unfortunately, is not acceptable because dia tidak lengkap. There is this half and this 3 over there. You can actually simplify it. So how do you simplify it? Okay, you multiply everything with the biggest number first. Okay, so there's two choices. Like you can multiply everything with 2, multiply everything with 3. I will usually opt for multiplying with 3 first. Saya darab semua dengan 3, saya akan dapat 3x kuasa 2 minus 3 over 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Then I do the same thing and I multiply by 2, which will give me 6x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals to 0, which is this answer over here lah. Okay. Now, the next question is really a giveaway question. There is no working and there's very, very, very minimal working in here. Okay, this minimum point should already tell you immediately what is the value of H and what is the value of K. Okay, ini adalah jenis soalan yang kamu tahu atau kamu tidak tahu. That's it. It's either you remember and you know, okay, or you know but you forgot. Okay, which I believe is quite a majority of the case lah. Ramai yang nampak ini kan, dia ingat, dia tahu tapi dia lupa. Okay, H is equals to negative 2. It must always be the opposite tanda of the x coordinate. Okay, K is the minimum point and the minimum point is 3. So how do we get the value of P? Okay, we get the value of P by substituting the y coordinate, x coordinate from this point. Okay, ada sebab tahu kenapa dia bagi ini maklumat. It's not there sebagai satu apa hiasan yang tidak berguna. Okay, it's not like all the whatever dolls you have in your room lah. Okay, it's not. Okay, ada gunanya di sana itu. Okay, and so we use that. We use the 0 and the 23 and substitute the H and the K yang sudah kita tahu to find the value of P. Okay. Substitution, finding the value, there's no mark over here because these are all, basic form 3 skills. Okay, understanding the meaning of the minimum point and the connection with this equation is of the highest importance. Okay, those of you who you think you're okay with the other topics, right? I really, really suggest that if you want to revise a certain topic, okay, and a topic that is useful for a lot of chapters, okay, it will be chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2 form 4, quadratic functions, right? Okay, masa awal-awal kamu belajar kan mesti semua orang blah 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 bukan, but actually it is the most important chapter, I feel. Okay, it is the most important chapter of all the chapters that you learn in your admits, because ini semua kamu akan pakai in other chapters. You use quadratic functions in simultaneous equations. You use quadratic functions in index, surd, and log. You use quadratic function in differentiation. You use quadratic function in integration. Okay, so it is such an important foundational chapter. Okay, you should not be, okay, saya skip lah chapter ni. Tidak, cannot. You skip this chapter, you better hope that you have the other chapters in place lah. Okay, number 5. These two showing questions, okay, this is an especially challenging question lah. Okay, so for those of you who answered, I want to say congratulations lah, okay, and good try. Okay, it is actually quite difficult. Okay, but for 5A, the index changed to log. Okay, the method to solve, I'm just going to show you the method terus lah. and see if you can understand this now. What is you're supposed to do is you start with this line. 3 to the power of 2x equals to 8 times 2 to the power of 3x. And the number one thing that you shouldn't be doing, okay, and if I see this, I definitely say I akan marah lah. The number one thing that you should not be doing is 3 2x equals to 16 3x. Ini yang akan menimbulkan apa yang akan mengungkitkan hantu-hantu yang keluar daripada kubur. Okay, come on now people. There is a reason why this cannot be multiplied. Because the 2 has to settle with the index first. Okay, kalau orang di dalam rumah sendiri pun tidak boleh dikawal, jangan pergi invite orang luar untuk masuk. Wow. Okay, jangan. Okay, it has to settle with that. So I noticed that quite a number of you did this lah. Okay, so ya, terus setan-setan dari dalam badan saya semua akan keluar. Okay, memarahi dan memaki orang yang buat begini. Jangan okay, don't. Okay, it's a very very common mistake. I see this too often. Okay, you forget that when something is the other index yang attached to it bahkan, okay, that thing is not available anymore. Okay, janganlah ada pihak ketiga yang datang dan mengacau rumah tangga orang lain. Wow. Okay, so the only logical thing to do is kasih log semua. Okay, when you log it, okay, then you can split it into plus. Okay, and then you pindah, and you finally get the line that the question is asking. Okay, this question is actually quite good lah. Okay, like other standard lah, other standard SPM lah. It's a good question, but it's a little bit tough. Okay, if you are planning to if you're planning to study indices, cert and log, okay, my suggestion to you is memorize the index law and the log law. Okay, don't refer to the formula, because if you refer to the formula, I'm not even sure whether the formula is given. Hold on. Yeah, only this is given. Okay, the most useless one of the lot is given. All 3 index law and all 3 log laws and all the 3 cert laws are not given. Okay, so you have to know. If you don't know, then I guess that explains why a lot of people didn't answer question number 5 lah. Ya, saya belum tanda tapi saya ada belik kertas lah. Saya say, oh okay. Banyak orang yang skip number 5 because you just forgot the log law. If you forget the log law, then that's it, 7 marks down the drain lah. Okay, same with question B, indices law. Okay, and this is a little bit tough. Okay, take a look at this working, and if you want me to explain a little bit more, you can message me personally lah. Okay, but what actually what is actually happening sorry, what is actually happening over here, okay, is this one is being replaced in here. Okay, so we're actually starting with this, which was in the question. Hold on. In the question, this one. Okay, we started with this and we ended up with this. Okay, tapi ini pun membantu ini. Okay, how do you olahkan benda itu? Kasih squared. Okay, so that the punca kuasa 6 akan hilang. Alright? Okay, question 6. This is by far the easiest question of the entire paper lah. Okay, and I congratulate those of you who actually did this and you got this correct. Okay, this is kalau saya kan, I'm not even going to discuss this question because dia bukan hot question. There's really nothing to discuss here. Okay, that I haven't spoken of before lah. System of linear equations is one of the easiest topics that anybody can do. Okay, dia macam form 3 punya tapi dia kena 3 equation. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the ending. You see even the marking scheme also cakap tau, kaedah 4 markah is however you use, you get the 4 marks lah. The important thing is, oh no, what happened over here? Okay, the important thing is the answer lah. Okay, x equals to -5/3, z equals to -1, and y equals to oh no, -5/3 plus 4. Okay, y equals to 7 over 3. Okay, yeah, sorry, the answer is like, okay, y equals to 7 over 3. Okay, if you get this 3, most likely I will just like tanda, and I'll give you the full 7 marks lah. Okay, because it is it is a good question. So certain topics, again I'm going to highlight certain topics, especially for those of you who are struggling with this subject. Master those topics first. Okay, you need to make sure that those topics you master, when you have gained enough confidence, you move on to other chapters. Okay, we have a few more months to go, and there's always still time for us to catch up. Okay, don't let this trial exam menjadi kamu punya penentuan dalam hidup lah. It's like, oh, kalau trial exam pun saya tidak boleh score, apalagi kalau ini. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Okay, you still have about 5 more months, 6 more months. It's half a year, okay, to do revision and to this one. Important thing is to start. Okay, start and not give up. All right, last question for the day, and then we'll call it a day. This is a coordinate geometry question. You're given the area of the triangle is 33 units. Find the value of P. One thing that I noticed, and I saw this again, okay, I saw this in paper 1 and I saw this in paper 2, is that people don't repeat the first point. Okay, I already mentioned kau mesti do one full circle. Kalau the first and the last set must be the same coordinate. Ramai saya nampak. -7, 9, 0, 0, P3, and then they close the gate. Okay, it's very sad lah, because you already got the concept there. You just forgot to repeat this one. Anyway, when you open this, okay, you will get P equals to 5. Actually, you will get something else. Like you will actually get 9P plus 21 equals to -66 also. Okay, and then you get 9P equals to -66 minus 21. Okay, -87, and yet P equals to 87 over 9. Okay, which is about 29 over 3 lah. Okay, but the reason why we reject 29 over 3 is because 29 over 3, oh no, I can't remember. Oh, because it is -29 over 3. Sorry, -29 over 3. Okay, so actually we are rejecting this because it is impossible for this coordinate P to be a negative coordinate. Okay, but because there's so few marks given, okay, so kalau kau tidak tulis reject pun, if you didn't write the reject one saya just abaikan lah. And Puan Lim said, tak payahlah kita kasih markah saja kalau dia orang dapat 5 lah itu. Okay, don't need to reject itu. Sepatutnya kan kalau reject itu mesti ada markah, bahkan saya selalu cakap begitu. Okay, but Puan Lim said no need lah. Okay, we just give them the mark for 5 marks. So okay lah. Nasib baik Puan Lim sangat baik hati. Okay, then the second one is the lompat-lompat formula. Okay, H, okay, lies on this one. So H is over here. Okay, you're supposed to find FH to HG. Okay, so what you do is you do the what you do is you do the lompat-lompat punya formula loh. Okay, so you put in the lompat-lompat punya formula, you get this 1 equals to this. Okay, all I want you to do is just ubah-ubah supaya dia boleh jadi M and N. Okay, can I do the same thing with this set? 3M plus 9N over M plus N equals to 5. Can I do the same thing? You can actually do the same thing. It's not a problem at all. Okay, so you get 3M plus 9N equals to 5M plus 5N. Okay, then I'm going to bring this across and this across. So I get -2M equals to -4N. Okay, 5 minus 9. Yeah. Okay, so M over N equals to -4 over -2, which is equals to 2 to the power 2 to 1. Okay, the thing that is important here is not this, The thing that is important here is this, which a lot of people forgot to write. Kau tulis M and N 2/1, cukup. Tapi soalan minta apa? Soalan minta FH nisbah HG. you need to write your final answer in that. Okay, you need to write your final answer according to what the question is asking. Question bukan tanya apa M dan apa N, which is what a lot of you did. Okay, and then saya macam, ini 5ST ni kan mau kena ajar ini macam mana mau membaca soalan dengan betul. Okay, I feel that it's such a shame lah. You know, you already got the method correct, you already answer correct, but you did not answer the question to completion. Okay, then lepas itu, sir, sorry for my very bad admits papers. Okay, tak apalah, simpan dalam hati saja. Okay, point L bergerak. Point L moves the LG equals to 2LH. This is a locus question. Okay, this is a locus question, and the length that you need to find is already given to you. You have the coordinate of G, you have the coordinate of H, okay, and all you need to do is just make sure that you substitute into the formula correctly. Okay, this is the length formula. Okay, the length of a line formula, which is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, square root. Okay, and L, since L is the locus, okay, L will always be just x and y. Okay, remember, locus got no fixed point. It is a moving point. That's why we call it x and y. Okay, and then your final answer will be this. This one is not a really big problem, but a few people okay, the few people that answered this question, you forgot to square this. Kau kasih hilang itu punca kuasa 2, tapi kau lupa tukar ini jadi 4. And that's why your answer came out. It's such a weird answer lah. Okay, which is not the same answer as this. Okay. Okay, so we are taking off from where we left, okay, the last time, which was in our paper 2 lah. Okay, the paper 2, and we're going to start from question 8. I'm going to cover all 4 questions in section B and the 2 compulsory questions in section C. Okay, and then the rest all, I can send you the solution for the other 2 questions if you're planning to do the other 2. Okay, but I won't be properly discussing it here lah. Okay, so question number 8, the result of a survey in SMK Anakku Sayang shows that 68% of the Form 5 students passed in an additional mathematics monthly test. Wow, only 68%. Okay, now if 10 of the Form 5 students are chosen, calculate the probability that at least 8. Okay, so we are seeing the words at least 8, okay, and we are given this 68%. And you know, if you've answered enough questions, you will know that this is actually a probability distribution question, and this one refers to binomial distribution. Okay, and so the P will be 0.68. We convert the percentage into probability, and so from there you can calculate the Q, which is 0.32. Okay, 0.32. Now you are given that the n is equals to 10. Okay, and you're given different r's because it's at least 8. Okay, so you're going to have to count the probability of 8, 9, and 10. And then what do you do with all the 3? You add them together. Okay, so this is how it will look like lah. The probability of 8 plus the probability of 9, okay, plus the probability of 10. Okay, then you replace it correctly. Okay, 8 and 2, 9 and 1, okay, 10 and 0. Okay, sorry, 1 over here lah. Okay, and you calculate, you should get at least about 0.313. Okay, so how are the marks distributed? The marks are distributed for, okay, 1 mark is, I see that you are doing 8 plus 9 plus 10. Even if you get the values wrong, but you have the idea there, that you have to calculate the probability of 8, tambah dengan probability of 9, tambah dengan the probability of 10. So if I'm seeing that happening, you get 1 mark. Okay, and then the substitution of either one of these, kalau betul, then you will get 1 mark. Okay, so maybe kamu hanya kira yang 10 saja yang kau kasih masuk dengan betul for some weird reason or another. Okay, you will still get the 1 mark. Okay, and then of course the final mark is this one, 0.3313 is the final answer. That's 1 mark. Okay, now if the total number of Form 5 students who are taking admits is 85 students, calculate the variance who failed. okay, the mathematics test. Okay, and so we find here that the variance is just NPQ. Okay, but the N now is 85. Okay, the P is now 0.32, but doesn't really matter because it is the same, because the Q is 0.68. Okay, so kita darab ini NPQ, no square root because you're counting variance, not standard deviation. Okay, and you will get about 18.496, which is the 2 marks lah. Okay, the first mark for substitution and the second mark for the final answer. Okay, now just to remind you that the formula for binomial, kenapa lah saya pakai cara panjang? Okay, so the formula for binomial is actually given, okay, which is this. Is the formula for binomial. They even tell you that P plus Q equals to 1. Okay, but like I have said many, many times, and I think I'm going to say it again and again until you finally get it, is that the formula is useless if you don't know what the letters mean. Okay, the formula is useless if you don't know what the letters mean. What is N? What is R? What is P? What is Q? Okay, so that is something that is on you. You have to know what these letters mean. Okay, the formula serves as a guide only. Okay, but if you can't even remember what the letters mean, then even if I give you the answer also, you still will not be able to understand. Okay, so the key to really, really scoring well in admaths is to understand what you're doing. Okay, not just do for the sake of finding the answer. You understand why the answer is like that and how you got the answer that way. Okay, and that takes time. Okay, it is not like masak Maggi yang 3 minit siap sudah tiada. Okay, it takes some time. So spend time. Okay, spend time to work on your admaths. Nescaya kamu akan berjaya. Amin. Okay, the height of students in Form 5 Matahari is normally distributed. So the word normally distributed tells you that you need to have the table with you, with a mean of 155 and a variance of 225. Okay, but when we calculate, okay, when we change the z-score, it will be x minus mean over not the variance but the standard deviation. Okay, so if a student is chosen at random from the class, find the probability that the height of the students is less than 148 cm. So you're talking about the probability of x is less than 148. This is what you need to do. And if you're doing the table method, you're doing from left to right lah. Okay, x is 148, change to z, draw it in a graph, and find the answer from there. Okay, so when you change it to z, you get 1 mark. 1 mark for changing it to z. Okay, and you get the value of z correct, so okay lah, can lah. It's only 2 marks, so the answer is baca terus because it's less than negative 0.4. Okay, so kamu baca terus daripada jadual, you will get 0.3203. Alright. Now, the next one is find the number of students. Okay, whenever you have to find the number of students, okay, you first have to find the probability of the students, okay, times with the total number of students. So as a general rule, okay, as a general rule, the number of students equals to the probability times by the total number of students. Okay, so the total number of students is 35, no problem. Now we need to find the probability that is between 140 and 150. Okay, when I look at this question, I was like, wow, they're not even asking you to go the other way around. Kan biasanya kita kalau ikut kotak makan, we go from one way to another and then we go from the other way back. But now everything is just from left to right. Okay, much easier. I hope that you scored in this lah. Okay, changing 140 to z-score, changing 150 to z-score. Okay, you get the probability is 0.2109. Okay, and as I said before, the number of students equals to the total number of students times the probability that you found. Okay, which is 0.2109, and you should get about 7 students. Okay, if you actually tekan the calculator, okay, and this is always a point of contention lah. Okay, so 35 times 0.2109 is actually 7.3815. Okay, so this is the number of students. So definitely the number of students cannot be 7.3815 lah kan. Number of students must be a round number. So it's either 7 or 8. But it cannot be 8 because dia belum lagi sampai 8. Okay, dia tidak cukup 8. So the next nearest number is 7. Okay, so be very careful with this. If you answered 8, then at least okay lah, it is a mistake that you know next time you must correct lah. But if you answer 7.3815, I suggest you take your hand and you knock yourself on the head. Okay, you actually got the answer already, but you didn't use your brain. Okay, where got such thing? Number of students is 7.38 students. Walao, tiada. Okay, so things like this you should avoid making mistakes. Okay, be aware of what the question is asking. Okay, jangan kerana kau dapat jawapan sudah kan, okay saya puas hati begitu. Don't be like that lah. Okay, on the whole, the probability distribution question for this time, your trials, is quite easy. Okay, compared to the questions before, it's quite easy if you did practice lah. Okay, if you did practice, then it will be definitely easy lah. Okay, prove that sine x minus cos x times tangent x plus cos cotangent x equals to secant x minus cosecant x. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time. So what you will do obviously is you will multiply everything. First you change everything to sine cos and cos sine. Then when you multiply, okay, sine x times sine x over cos x. Sorry. Okay, so what will happen over here is you will be able to cancel each other out, okay, and then after that you get 1 over cos x minus 1 over sine x, okay, which is actually secant x minus cosecant x. Okay, actually this is quite a simple, how do I say this? This is quite a simple proving, okay, but I think most likely if some of you were not able to answer, it's because you are stuck by the fact that there are 4 functions over here. You got sine, cos, tangent, cotangent, and then after that they ask you to change to secant and cosecant, which is like all 6 in one. Okay, but actually the key to this is to change the tangent and the cotangent into sine and cos. So you're just left with sine and cos only. Okay, so play around with this. I highly suggest that if you're okay with the rest of the questions, play around with this, see if you can prove it lah. Okay, I'll leave this solution here as a guide for you. All right, y equals to h sine kx plus p. Oh, sorry. Y equals to sine h sine kx plus p for 0 to pi. Okay, now first of all, take a look at this. The values of h, k, and p are actually 1 mark each, which means that it is a question that doesn't require calculation. It is a question that requires you to perhatikan dan beri jawapan. Okay, which is a fact. Okay, let's talk about this first. H represents the amplitude. Okay, the highest point or the lowest point. Okay, which means that from 0 over here, then up here, and then down here, bahkan, what is this height? Okay, now it's very tempting for us to write h equals to 1 sebab kita nampak saja 1 bahkan. But if you remember amplitude, especially in physics, you will know that amplitude is the distance from the equilibrium point. And the equilibrium point is here. So this distance, h is actually equals to 2. Because negative 1 sampai 1 adalah 2. Okay. Secondly, the second number over here tells you what? How many cycles into pi? Okay, into pi. So I saw quite a number of you saw, oh, okay, 1 cycle saja. Jadi k equals to 1. Minta maaf, salah. Okay, it's not k equals to 1. Because this is only until pi. The how many cycles is into pi. So kalau pi is 1 cycle, logically 2 pi will be 2 cycles. Oh no, what am I doing? Okay, 2 pi will be 2 cycles. So k is also equals to 2. Okay, and p is you move the whole graph up or down. Okay, daripada kosong. Okay, so since this is a sine graph and it starts with 0, so it's obvious that we have moved this graph down one step. Okay, so P will be equal to down one step. Okay, equals to negative 1. So H equals to 2, K equals to 2, P equals to negative 1. Find the values of Q such that the equation sine kx equals to Q over H minus P over H has only one root. Okay, so what you will need to do, okay, is substitute the P and the K and the H first lah. Okay, when you substitute the P and the K and the H, you will get something like this. Okay, and then you get Q equals to 1 and minus 3. Okay, because H sine kx is 2 sine 2x, okay, minus 1, okay, equals to Q. If there is only one root, okay, if there is only one root, means that whatever line that you have, okay, can only touch the trigonometric function at one point only. Okay, and the only way that this is possible, okay, the only way that this is possible is if you draw a straight line across here and a straight line across here. So these are the only places where any line can touch the trigonometric function at only one point. So that means Q equals to 1 and Q equals to negative 3. Okay, because this garis is y equals to 1. This garis is y equals to negative 3. Garis melintang. Any other line that you draw, okay, will always touch more than 1. And any other line that you draw will always touch more than 1. Even if, let's say, I draw something like this, okay, you actually still touch more than 1 lah. Okay, so the only possible way is that if it is a horizontal line that only touches this one at only one point. Okay, and also because kita sudah susun balik kita punya ini, kan? Y equals to H sine kx plus P. Therefore, this one y equals to Q. So y equals to Q means dia mesti horizontal line sahaja. Okay, this is from your maths form 5. All right, solve the equation, yada yada, okay, for 0 to 360. So solving equation was a 7-step process, okay, that I taught you all. First of all, you have to simplify lah. Okay, so the first thing is 3 sine x cos x plus 2 cos x. Kamu faktorkan the cos x. You get cos x and 3 sine x plus 2 equals to 0. So the point of simplifying everything is to make sure that there is only one term, but it can be actually got like small terms inside lah. So you get cos x equals to 0. There should be two angles, okay, and sine x equals to negative 2 over 3, and there should be two angles. And I took you on a very long journey about this one lah. Sine negative is which quadrant? Okay, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Okay, find the basic angle, find the base angle. After you find the base angle, find the angle in the third and the fourth quadrant. Okay, and so on and so forth. So the step is always the same, but if you have forgotten the step, then that's where this question becomes difficult. Okay, the things are only difficult because you forget what you're supposed to do. So the solution is, how do you remember what you're supposed to do? You practice lo, kan? Okay, any game, any video game can become very easy if you keep practicing and practicing a lot. Right now, I'm playing a video game where it's so annoying. I have to get out of this place, okay, and I only have one life. So every time I finish that life, I have to respawn, and I spawn right back to the very beginning. So it's a very frustrating game because, like, you kind of wish that when you spawn back, you spawn at the same place lah, kan, and then you continue from there. No. This game is so sakit hati that they force you to go back all the way to the beginning, work your way up again. and the problem is what, there's like a few levels, and every level got a different boss. So I have to fight every boss all over again. So it's a very frustrating game to play lah. Okay, but what it has taught me, and I thought that it was quite interesting lah. what it has taught me, no, okay, so the good thing is every time you spawn back, you get all these chances to buy stuff and upgrade your weapons and everything lah. Okay, and of course the boss becomes easier and easier to defeat lah. And I thought, wow, this is just like admets, the more times you do, of course the first time is very frustrating lah. You always have to go back to the beginning, but the more times you do it now, actually you acquire more and more skill. And after a while you can see like, oh okay, begini pula dia punya soalan kan. So yeah, so guys, okay, if I can, wow, I'm quite sure I will finish the game one day lah. Okay, but if I can play this game until finish, don't tell me you cannot do admets lah. Okay, practice, 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 practice. Okay, if I can tahan spawning back right from level 1, okay, although it's very heartache. Okay, if I can tahan that, I'm sure you can tahan doing admets right from the beginning. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so even in video games, we have life lessons. Okay, linear law is the next question. Linear law, and this is a pretty easy linear law. It doesn't even involve it doesn't even involve log. Okay, and if you have forgotten how to do linear law, the most important thing is after you draw the line, make sure it is best fit, identify the gradient, and identify the y-intercept. Okay, then whatever happens after that lah. If you do that now, you should be able to get 6 or 7 marks out of 10. Just draw the line, count the gradient, and identify the y-intercept. Okay, and just tembak saja lah. One is P, one is Q. Okay, but the scheme will show us this lah. Okay, when you draw the line, okay, you should get something like this, and the y-intercept is about 2. Okay, so you are asked to plot this graph, okay, which is y over x against x squared. So you will have to redo the table lah, okay, which is here and here. Okay, now the thing about the table is because the table is so easy, it only involves a calculator. So you will only get 1 mark if all the x squared are correct, and another mark if all the y over x is correct. Satu saja silap, terus kau tidak dapat markah lah. But that doesn't mean that kamu punya graph adalah salah. Okay, so this is a very important thing. Because people are scared of this question, dia takut kalau saya satu titik salah bahkan the whole thing wrong bah. No. If you get, let's say lah, di sini kan kamu sepatutnya 4.50 tapi kau tertulis 4.60. Contohnya lah, kau tertulis 4.60. So dalam graph pun kamu plot 4.60. Dan bila kamu kira pun dia melibatkan itu 4.60. Don't worry about it. Okay? They will still give you they will still give you the mark for the working, although your final answer may be a little bit jauh. Okay, tapi dia bukan jenis yang satu titik salah terus satu soalan semua salah lah. It doesn't work that way lah. Okay, for this particular instance, it is only one time diorang kasih denda kamu lah. Okay, they will penalize you for getting the point wrong. But that's it. Everything after that is correct. Okay, so you plot correct, you get 1 mark. If you plot 1 point correctly, you get 1 mark. But if you plot all 6 points correctly, you get 2 marks lah. Okay, and then 1 more mark for line of best fit. Okay, now when you adjust the equation, the original equation is y equals to px plus qx cubed, kan? Kamu mau y over x. So you divide everything by x lah. Y over x equals to px over x plus qx cubed over x. So this one will cut, this one will cut. You get y over x equals to p plus qx squared. Okay, and according to the graph, this is y-axis, this is x-axis. Makanya q adalah gradient, p adalah c. Okay, bolehkah y equals to c plus mx? Of course boleh, apa salahnya? Y equals to mx plus c dan c plus mx, apa bezanya? 2 plus 3, is it the same as 3 plus 2? Yeah, it's the same thing. Saya tukar tempat saja. Doesn't mean that, dia punya nilai berubah. No, saya just tukar tempat saja. Okay, so jangan kencang-kencang. Quite a number of you wrote that the kecerunan is P because that's the first thing that comes. Come on. Okay, buka minda sikit. Okay, can change place one. Sebab dia punya nilai tetap sama. Yang paling penting adalah apa yang bersangkut paut dengan paksi X. Itulah gradient. Itu tidak boleh berubah. Okay, so you will get P is around the value of 2.0. Okay, again, this depends on your graph. And usually for SPM, there is always a range. Okay, so the correct answer may be 2.0, but they will always give you plus minus 0.1. So if you get 1.9 or 2.1, it is acceptable. Some years yang diorang sangat baik hati, they may even give you a 0.2 difference. So if you get 1.8 or 2.2, okay, masih lagi boleh diterima. Jarang lah, tapi masih boleh. Sometimes they will allow that kind of difference. Okay, janji kamu punya garis mesti best fit. That's really the most important thing. Your line must be best fit. Okay, gradient is about the value of 0.07 depending on the points that you take. Okay, and depending on how you count lah. So y-intercept equals to p equals to 2.0, you get 1 mark. Gradient kira dengan betul, you get 1 mark. And then the value of the value of y when x equals to 5. Astaga. Okay, x equals to 5. X equals to 5 means you have to find for x squared equals to 25, kan? Lepas tu kau cari nilai ini, then whatever value you get here, remember that it is y over x, bukan y. You still have to do another step. So y over x equals to, let's say lah, contohnya saya letak ini adalah, okay, let's say you get about 93.5. Okay, so your y will be equals to what? Y over 5 equals to 93.5. 93.5 times 5, you get about 467.5. Oh no, sorry. Saya silap pula. Okay lah, contoh lah. Okay, contoh. But the answer is about y equals to 18.5. But the idea is this lah, whatever point that you get, okay, apa-apa nilai yang ada di sini, I'm quite sure I did something wrong here lah. Okay, your answer is equals to y over x. Question is asking for y. All right, let's continue. Question 10 is this is differentiation. Okay, so show that the total surface of the cylinder is given by this. This is a past year question, by the way. Okay, so first of all, okay, you will have to find the value of h because, okay, there is no h over here. Okay, surface area of cylinder, the formula is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. And 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. But the problem is there's no h in this one that you have to prove. So you have to use the volume formula to ungkapkan the h. Okay, which is what is happening here. You use the volume formula, which is pi r squared h, okay, to get the h in terms of r, then you substitute the r inside. Okay, this is a very, very common differentiation question. I see it many, many years already. Okay, and if you practice enough, actually, it's quite easy to do lah. Okay, all right. Then next is find the minimum total surface area of the cylinder. Okay, minimum total surface area. When you're talking about minimum, you need to talk about dA dr lah, because the equation given is here. Okay, so you have to find dA dr, and when you see the words minimum, you know that the differentiation must be equals to 0. Asal kamu nampak minimum maximum, okay, dia punya differentiation mesti sama dengan kosong. So the first step is to differentiate it. Okay, so you differentiate dA dr, and you kasih sama dengan kosong, you get 1 mark. Okay, and you will get the answer r equals to 4. Substitute the 4 correctly into the area formula, and you will get the minimum area, which is 96 pi, this one. Okay, and as a general rule, again, another general rule, kasi tinggal dalam pi saja, you don't really have to answer, you don't really have to substitute pi lah. All right, the last part is integration. Okay, find the value of k, which is here. Okay, so this is quite easy lah. They are giving you the y already, right? So you just substitute the y inside here, you get the x, and you should be able to get the k. Wow, like that I also want to do. K equals to negative 1. Y, hold on now, let me see if I can do this. Y equals to negative 2x plus 6. y is 8, negative 2x plus 6. Hello, k equals to negative 1, you still get the same thing, right? 2k lah. So 8 minus 6 is 2 equals to negative 2k. So k equals to negative 1. Either way lah, either way you do also correct. In this scheme, they kasi differentiate because the differentiation equals to negative 2. But either way also you still get the same answer. For me, I will just use this because equation is already given. Kenapa saya mau susah-susah kan? Okay. Now the area of the shaded region, notice that this shaded region is going towards the y-axis. Okay. But at the same time, you can actually calculate the entire whole thing over here, right? Then minus the over here, minus the this shape lah, which is a trapezium shape. Okay, and the trapezium shape will tell you a few things lah. Okay, the trapezium will tell you that this height over here is actually 6 from this formula. This height is 8, and over here is k. K is negative 1, so this is 1. So the area of the trapezium you can count. Okay, trapezium is half times 8 plus 6 times 1, which is 7. Okay, so the big area, which is the one over here, okay, is the integration from negative 1 to 0, okay, for dx, okay, which is what she's doing over here lah. Okay, x squared plus 7, which is this equation, okay, from negative 1 to 0 over here. So you integrate correctly, you get 1 mark. You position this correctly, this minus this, as long as I see that you're doing one area minus another area, I'll give you 1 mark. Okay, and then of course the final answer will be another mark. Okay, on the whole, okay, as a whole, I noticed that in this paper, the section A questions are more difficult. Section B questions are quite easy actually. Okay, they are quite easy, they are quite basic. They didn't ask you the tough stuff, except the trigonometry. Okay, trigonometry is a little bit difficult, but the probability, the linear law, they didn't even ask you the log question. They ask you the normal graph, and then even the differentiation question. Actually, it's quite easy lah. Okay, so I hope that you guys spent more time doing the section B questions than the section A, because the section B was much easier. All right, let's go to the last part, which is this. So question 12 is a question that is chapter 9, no, chapter 7, I think, or 7 or 8 lah, inside your textbook. Okay, which we haven't learned lah, actually. I haven't formally taught. So if you want the scheme for this, I'm just going to give you, okay, this is this one. Okay, let me zoom in. So if those of you who want to try this question, you can just take a screenshot of this this scheme, and you can give it a try if you want lah. Okay, I may or may not teach this, okay, depending on how your class progresses, but I highly doubt I will teach this lah. Okay, so maybe those of you who are the who are the overachievers, if you want to try this and you want to ask me to help you to this one, maybe we can do a separate class lah. Okay, tidak payahlah melibatkan semua orang. It's not a formal class. And you say, okay, sir, I want to learn this chapter lah. Okay, mana tahu lah kan. Okay, if you want to do that, then you arrange lah. Okay, just like the seminar road to A plus SPM. Okay, if you want to do a class on this, not one class lah. If you want to learn this chapter, okay, then you organize among yourselves, and then if you have a few people, then we can do a class di luar waktu sekolah lah. Okay, tapi masa sekolah saya tidak akan ajar bab ini sebab saya mau focus especially for those of you that are struggling with this paper to make sure that the other chapters are okay, because this is an optional chapter. You don't have to learn it if you don't want to. All right. Okay, question 13 is the index question. Okay, now again, the index question also is quite simple compared to other questions. Okay, so I will not really spend so much time talking about this. Okay, price is given, the price index is given. Okay, at this point, after one whole year of learning this, I hope you know what is the difference between price and price index. You can calculate the price for 2020. Okay, which is given over here lah. Okay, it's a two-step process. Okay, substitute the tempat yang betul and you will get the correct answer, which is 2 ringgit and 40 cent. And I will always emphasize this, is price, people. It's price. Price must have RM. Price index got no RM. So if you give me your price with no RM, I will mark you wrong. And if you give me a price index with an RM, I will also mark you wrong. Okay, because you are Malaysian, all Malaysians must know apa itu RM. Okay, so yes, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be making these kind of mistakes. All right, composite index is given 120. Find the value of k. Okay, the method that I usually teach this is you do the multiply across lah. So 125 times k will be 125k. 120 times 3 will be 360. 80 times k plus 1 will be 80k plus 80. 150 times 6 will be 900. Okay, then you add all together, or you can do it the long way, okay, as some of you like to do, which is this. Okay, finally you will get the answer k equals to 4. Okay, very standard question lah. All right, third one, find the price of the soap. Okay, now the soap is the whole thing. Okay, PQRS are the materials that are used to make the soap. And since the soap is the whole thing, so you have to take the whole index. What is the whole index called? The whole index is called the composite index. That's why you see it's equals to 120. The price in 2020 is 28 ringgit, but because of inflation, harga naik 20%, so it will cost 33 ringgit 60 cent. Okay, for everyone in this class, okay, whether you are an overachiever or whether you are a struggling student, okay, you should be able to get 1, 2, and 3 correct. Okay, you need to aim to get this correct. Okay, D, if you cannot get it, you cannot get it lah. But A, B, and C are so standard, you know. If you answer 100 questions, 84 of them will have this in there. Okay, 84. Dengan bangganya lah saya cakap statistik yang saya pun tidak tahu. But it will be there. Okay, so you need to know that you can even use the composite index, okay, in the original Q1 over Q0 times 100 formula. Okay, don't be stuck. The composite index is also an index, but it is an altogether index. All right, given the price of material Q is decreased by yada yada, then calculate the new composite index lah. So you have to just change this one, okay, which will lead you to change this one. The Q, instead of 120, it will become 108. Okay, but everything else will become the same. Okay, so actually there's nothing to this, you know. Just change the Q only and you get 1 mark already. Everything else is the same. You just divide by 20, okay, and you get the new composite index, which is 106.2. Okay, so again, as I've mentioned before, whether you are an overachiever or a struggling student, I need you to practice so that you can get 7 out of these 10 marks correct. All right, last question. Solution of triangle. Okay, so solution of triangle. One thing that I noticed quite a lot of you forgot is the fact that it is obtuse. What does obtuse mean? Obtuse means it's more than 90 degrees and less than 180 degrees. Okay, so quite a lot of you got the sign correct and then you stop at 68.82. Okay, and then you forget that it is an obtuse angle. Whenever it is an obtuse angle, and this only applies to sine rule. Only sine rule has this very strange situation where the answer can be more than one. It can be an acute angle like 68.82, or it can be an obtuse angle 113.80. Okay, only the sine rule, okay, has this problem. Cos rule, no problem. Okay, cos rule, the answer you get itulah jawapannya. Okay, but sine rule is just one of those rules that you have to be careful. Okay, is it an obtuse angle or is it an acute angle? So the numbers must mean something to you. Look at ABD. ABD over here. Does this look like a 66-degree angle to you? No, it is not. Okay, anything bigger than the L on your fingers is more than 90 degrees. Okay, if you bend your finger like this, it's more than 90 degrees. So how can it be 66? Okay, the question also say, the diagram also show you. Okay, and again, as I said many times, and I will say it again, this comes by constant practice. Practice, practice, and practice, and you will be able to see it. Okay, yeah, practice and a lot of scolding from Sir Marcus lah. Okay, balik-balik dia cakap ni. Okay, the second one is we use the cost rule, okay, to calculate. And one thing that I noticed quite a number of you did, which I'm always very vexed when people do this, is they forget to square root. Okay, so they will give you the answer equals to 105.2676. Okay, tapi the answer is 10.26. Why? Because there is a square. You forgot to square root. Okay, quite a lot of you lah. The last one is the area of the triangle. Okay, this is very normal of ADC. If you have everything correct, okay, you will notice that you cannot count the whole thing. So you will have to count two triangles separately. Okay, yes, like actually you can count the whole thing. Okay, but it's a lot of work lah. It's much easier to count the two triangles separately because you have enough information for that. You can add together, okay, and you get 56.43. Okay, this should be centimeters squared lah. Okay, the angle of ADB is 16.82. After you calculate ADB here, okay, is 16.82. Okay, of course, if you get that correct, then we will give you that 1 mark over there lah. All right. The final question is this question, which is the linear programming question. Okay. For those of you who may want to venture into this, especially those of you who take tuition and your tuition teacher emphasizes this question a lot, you may want to answer this if you want. Saya tidak menghalang. I noticed that some of you in this class also answered this question. Okay, good for you. This question is quite easy actually, because you just have to make sure that you draw the 3 correct graphs. And then when you draw the 3 correct graphs like this lah, okay, you draw 3 correct graphs and you lorek tempat yang betul, okay, then you get about 5 marks already. Okay, 1, 2, 3, or 6 marks. 6 marks. Then even if you ignore the last 4 marks, you still have that 6 marks over there lah. Okay, so I'm going to zoom this out in case anybody wants to take a screenshot of this. Okay, for your own reference lah. If you want to try this question, go ahead. If you want to call for a separate class on this question, for whoever wants to try this question, also can lah. Okay, before I came to Lok Yuk, I usually emphasize this question, because I think it's a quite simple question, especially for those that like to draw graph lah. But in our school, we focus on the first 2 chapters, which is index number and solution of triangle. And the reason is because you have more time to practice that question compared to this. Because this is the final chapter in Form 5. Usually final chapter in Form 5 kan tiada masa sudah mau belajar ni. Okay, so it depends on you lah. Okay, if you want to try this question, you want to call for a class, you can organize with whoever that wants to join the class. And then we can arrange for time together lah.